Everybody, welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and today we're going to be talking about how to build Acambe. I think my camera's bigger. I was recording a video for Pokemon, so I made it a little bigger there. Let's small it up again. So we're going to be talking about how to build Acambe, the skills I recommend taking, the equipment I recommend taking, and then finally the characters you might want to consider using with him if you have them. So first and foremost, what kind of skills do you want to use? To me, this feels kind of like Coco, which is a little bit of a solved situation in the sense where the three best skills seem very clearly to be Squander, Greed Leads to Ruin, and Rich Rewards, both in the same skill, both insane abilities. One of them gathers everyone together, so they are all really close, and then it inflicts magic defense down 2, move down 2, and no assist on the enemies, and it lasts for 2 turns. The other skill, Rich Rewards, restores energy to everyone within 3 tiles, gives a attack buff 2, a physical and magical defense buff 2, and if you happen to have any summoned allies, which doesn't have to be his, it could be anyone's, they will get attack 4. So that includes the guard, if you got the guard. His reaction is actually really, really good, but it's kind of lame because I don't like letting the assassins die, but it doesn't matter. It's really good. So if you're under attack, if there is an allied summon unit within 3 tiles, it doesn't mean that it has to be the assassin, by the way. It could be the guard. If the guard doesn't even have his passive guard up or anything, if Anana's guard doesn't have the guard skill going, this will still protect him. You could have the summon unit take the attack instead up to 2 times per round. This is really unique in the sense that this actually kind of prevents him from taking damage. So this is one of the characters that's easiest to keep at max HP. Unless they hit him with AoE, but single target attacks, it's really hard to get up to him. And then finally, it's going to be Burning Riches. So this is just his big ultimate. It does reasonable damage, not broken, but definitely reasonable damage. 5x3, can hit up to 5 targets if they're lined up right. They don't have to be it's not that hard to hit 3 or 4 targets, but 90% of these targets, it knocks them back 2 tiles, and then it summons 3 Shadow Assassins, assuming you did it in a spot where you could. Basically, the 3 front tiles in front of you. If there's something there, it won't summon that one, so you want to try to keep it. It also inflicts no energy restored. However, we are going to completely bypass that. The other one you might want to consider is Rewards and Punishment. It's the Leader's Aura, but it also reduces cooldown of abilities, which means it would reduce the cooldown of this from 5 turns down to 4 turns. And also it increases the summons by 20%. But the issue is it's kind of hard to find space. Squander is probably the one that would go, even though it's busted. I don't tend to use it that much early on in a fight. But the longer a fight goes, the better this becomes, in my opinion. It's just a really good skill. But I mean, Burning Riches is super powerful. But you're not going to get rid of Shadow Assassin, right? It just becomes tough. I don't know where I'd put that. Honestly, these are the skills I like to use because it's these are all really heavy damage skills, but then you also have a huge support or a huge debuff. And Greed Leads to Ruin is also a heavy damage skill. It just doesn't look like it, but it gathers everything together. So his whole gimmick, right, is he summons units that do follow-up attacks. But also, once you get a bunch out there, you could also use Secret Signal, which will make them all do an AoE attack. And if you get to use the Greed Leads to Ruin first, not only do you lower their magic defense by 2, but you also gather them all really close together, all the assassins, all the enemies, and you get to just Beyblade them all with all the assassins. So it just kind of busted. It's also an instant skill, so if you have max energy, you could do this after summoning a bunch of assassins. You could summon assassin, Greed Leads to Ruin, and then you could use your thing. It would only be on 2 assassins instead of 5, but I mean, that's totally fine. That's a lot of damage. Because they do 100% each, and so if they're all hitting them with the defense down, it's just very good. So these are the skills I'm going to recommend. I mean, there's nothing else that I would even really consider. I mean, Hypnosis is very strong, but I don't know if I'd bring it on this character, and I'm not spending the Castilia to get it. The Leader's Aura is good, but I'm not sure what I would replace it with. Maybe I'd replace I would need at least 2 more characters that are very dedicated summoners. Not just like Anana, but if Safia is a summoner, Safia, I hear she's a summoner. I need her, him and then 2 other dedicated summoners, I think, to consider using this ability. And then I'm willing to weaken himself probably by getting rid of Burning Riches or his normal Shadow Assassin ability. Maybe, probably not, probably Burning Riches. to then make the other unit stronger. And then up here, you're probably never going to use these, but he does do a lot of single target damage if you want him just to be a carry. When it comes to equipment, I mean, the best in slot is arguably the Starry Sky Heritage, because it just does so many good stats. You know, in general, it's the best on most everybody, gives him a ton of magic attack, but really what you're going to want to be using is the skeleton staff. And the main reason is that this is like the first time a character has been good with the skeleton staff. It's been pretty bad up till now. Now, as long as Acambe is on the team, anyone that uses skeletal staff will still get the benefit, because you don't want to, I just put it on Acambe himself. That way he always has it. No one else really wants it unless he's on the team, so it feels like it's good. What does it do? Gives you a good amount of HP, and then you recover energy when an ally is defeated. Allies, summons count as allies. So when they get defeated, you are going to recover 1 energy per round, which is going to just help kind of, you have like a cap of 7 or 9, depending on how many you have. So it just, the faster you can get back up there and start wailing out tons of abilities, the better. He could spend that energy like nobody's business. So it's really good just to have a little bit of energy support here. For Taros, for me, it's really no contest. It is the temptation. Like, you care about his magic attack because that's what the assassins do. And he also just has good magic attack himself and can do a lot of damage. But really, when he's in the battle, I feel like almost everyone wants the devil, because so many characters are going to be dying. Like, every time one of your shadow assassins die, boom, the devil triggers once or twice, depending on what your final thing is here. So it's actually just like kind of sick. It's going to make him super high damage, super high defense. An extra 30% is not a small amount. You could go with something that like lowers his cooldowns and gives him energy. Like, there is the wheel can give you energy, but the other one I'm thinking of, I always forget the name of it, but it's the one that, you know, when you, here we go, the world. When you stand by, you get an extra energy. When you stand by, you get an extra cooldown. So you could also use this one, you know, maybe on, because what you could do is on your first turn, you could spend all your energy, right? Summon some assassins, and then attack something or whatever, right? Or you would probably just summon 5 assassins, right? 2 normal ones, and then 3 from your ultimate. Then what you do is on the next turn, you just stand by. You don't even do anything. We're not using any active skills, so you have to actually use standby. You can't use attack, but then you stand by, and then you're still dealing a lot of damage because your assassins still are out there and they can keep doing their damage, which doesn't count as you. Then on the third turn, that means you're going to have reduced the cooldown. So now suddenly, if you have the aura, it's going to go from 5 turns to 4 turns on your ultimate, and 4 turns to 3 turns when you use this. And so it has a 3-turn cooldown when you use it. And so it's going to be at like 1 turn or up. I don't remember the math. All right. But it's going to make it so you could use that ultimate a lot more consistently. So this is also viable, but I think just simpler. You don't have to worry about it. You just put the devil on, you just have a good time. For the trinket, there's really no contest. If you're going to use his ultimate, you want the fancy hat. This is what gives you immunity to disrupt, which is going to make you immune to your no energy. It doesn't say that here. Immune to behavior and disrupt debuffs, which I guess maybe energy down's a disrupt debuff. But then you get down here, blind, straight curse. You know, that's what I have. But then it just says etc. So there's more stuff, but fancy hat basically makes you so you don't ever turn off your own energy regeneration, which is huge. If you're not using the ultimate, you might want to use something like a sudden strike, because if you do a single target attack, it will cause your assassins to follow up on it. But I wouldn't worry about that too much. You can, but I would stick with the hat. But if you don't want to use the hat because you're not using his ultimate, then you probably want to use something like this. So a couple allies that are really good. So first, I'm going to say Coco. Coco is good for a couple reasons. One, because she's obviously a tank. And she could do buffs and stuff like that. And she can basically, so instead of the assassin taking the attack for your character and, dying, Coco can kind of jump in front because she has higher speed, right? I'm pretty sure she has higher speed than the assassins, so she can prevent them from dying. And then the assassins will only go off as like a last resort to keep Acambe alive. But this is something I haven't tested, but I'm pretty sure it works. It's actually really hard to get it to test it. But if you get Coco up to 5 stars, she has the guarantee for breakfast, right? She has the guarantee to get happiness from the breakfast effect. What this does is it makes the next skill a character uses decrease by 1 energy. It reduces the energy consumption by 1. It doesn't increase your energy regeneration. This is huge because the assassins have 1 energy and their Vorpal Blade costs 2 energy to use. So normally the only way they could use it is with your secret signal. However, if you have Coco, you should be able to give them all happiness, and they should be able to Vorpal Blade on their turn for free, basically. Every time you have an assassin on their turn when it comes up, if they have happiness, they should be able to use their Vorpal Blade. Now, the reason I haven't tested this is because it's a 1 in 3 chance to actually land. And so it's actually difficult to get into a situation where I tried, where it was like, I need to have a spot where I could have an assassin not die on the first turn. Then also the enemy was within range on the second turn, but also then have Coco basically give them that 1 in 3 happiness. It was just too hard to make it line up just for the sake of one experiment on one video for an ability I'm pretty sure works that way. But that is another reason why she is like secretly super, super good. Another character is like Gloria. That's a little more obvious because Gloria is good with everybody. However, one thing I think you should keep in mind when you're looking at attack buffs and aura buffs and just buffs is Gloria is... buffs are extra good on Acambe because you get a double dip on his assassins. When you give Acambe attack up 2, it will make his assassins summon stronger, but they don't summon with that attack up buff. So you could then apply the attack up buff to the assassins. So it's like you are getting multiple attack buffs on the assassins, which are the main like damage output that he has. And so Gloria having so many ways to increase things attacks, I think naturally kind of he double dips on that. Also, she has beautiful eyes. Why wouldn't you want her on her team? Rawia is really good with them because if there are characters that have instant attacks, the assassins can do 2 follow-up attacks every single turn, and or every round, every turn, whatever. And Rawia has an instant single target attack. So her charge, the one that she dashes forward, that will proc all assassins within 5 tiles of the target. So it actually makes that charge, the charge, which is normally a gap closer and not that strong, it's mostly for turning off reactions to get to the more powerful side. You can now use the charge and absolutely fuck up something with all these assassins. And then you could actually use your powerful attack on either a different target, if you killed the unit, or if they didn't kill the unit, it's just another way to do an insane amount of single target damage, because that will also trigger all the assassins. So you could, if you just have Acambe summon 5 assassins, you do the charge, suddenly they're getting hit with 5 assassins and this charge, and then you do your big hit, and then they're getting hit by 5 assassins again. So it actually is some crazy single target damage, which is what Acambe excels at. He's like a single target damage machine. Now, if we go down a little bit, let's sort by rarity. I think Candlelight is going to be really good because Candlelight just has this ability here, which is like actually perfect on him. It gives him attack up 2 and gives him 4 energy. He can hold up to 9 energy when he is at 3-star. And so this will just basically top him off, like, because he also gets extra energy for every 3 he has. So even if he's at 1 energy at the end of his turn, right? He spent it all, he goes up to 1. This brings him up to 5. And then even if he spends 2, he's still going to go up to 5 again at the end of his turn. So if, as long as he's at like 5 energy, and he could use 2 a turn and be fine. But if he's at like 2 energy, or even, 2 energy, it brings him up to 6. And then suddenly he's going to be regenerating 3 a turn if you don't use energy. It just helps top him off. But again, the attack up buff is so nice because it is like a way to double dip on these attack up buffs. If you give him an attack up buff, and then he summons a bunch of assassins, they summon without the attack up buff, but they do take into account the stats of Acambe's newly boosted attack. So it is very, very good. Also, she's honestly just a great character, right? She has some pretty decent healing. She's got great AoE energy regeneration. This is an instant speed energy regeneration, one of my favorite characters in the game. Okay, he's good with the Nana. Of course, everyone's good with the Nana, all right, because he recovers so much energy at the end of his turn. He could just keep doing that, but let's like not even talk about it, right? It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. If we go down to even lower rarities, it's gonna be less and less characters that are like inherently synergistic. But basically, if you have any character with like an instant attack, will be really good. And then, like Butterfly. Butterfly gives like a nice aura buff as well. These characters down here are not necessarily synergistic with him. If you have some sort of magic shred down here, that could be good, right? It makes Edda pretty good with them, but I don't think there's that much magic shred down here. It's actually like a pretty rare stat to get because a lot of this is like physical defense down on ballista, stuff like that. But so I don't think there's like a super inherent synergy with any of these characters that I'm seeing here. I mean, you could bring Abyss because he's a drifter, right? I think I'm pretty sure he's a drifter. So you could bring just Abyss just to have the you know, the leader aura, or again, you could use his own discipline aura. The discipline aura is pretty good, especially like if you're going to a full discipline team, then suddenly you might want to start looking at that because it's going to decrease the, you know, cooldown of like Winter Wonderland. It's going to decrease his cooldowns. Leonide's going to get decreased cooldowns. So could be pretty good there, but that's generally how I'd build them. I mean, I think the equipment is pretty much solved. You don't really want to switch out of this equipment very frequently. I think there is some flexibility in terms of the devil, but I think you're getting so much value out of the devil that I don't really want to get rid of it myself. The skills feel relatively solved. The equipment feels relatively solved. It really seems more about building a team that he is good with. He does a lot of single target damage. He could do some AoE damage too, like good AoE damage, but it's inconsistent because it's like on 5-turn cooldowns. His secret signal and burning riches are both on 5-turn cooldowns. So he can do a lot of AoE, but he can't do it frequently. So I think he's mostly every turn he's going to be doing single target damage, or on off turns he might just be doing buffs. He might just be out of energy and just kind of trying to recover his energy. Also, I like that his trait is his exact picture right there to right there. But yeah, that's going to be how I'm going to build Acambe. Let me know how you're going to build him. Where am I right? Where am I wrong? Why should I build him totally different? Why am I so wrong? Plat, what are you thinking? Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!